What's up, guys? Marcellus Williams, aka TheSwolefessor, Educational Health, Business, Well-Being. As promised, we are continuing on with the videos in terms of showing you what a full week of training looks like for me structure-wise. Last video you guys saw was just yesterday, my primary SBD day. In this video, I'm taking you guys through my secondary intensity bench day, as well as tomorrow's secondary squat day. So, on this day before, because you guys know on my primary SBD day for bench, we did like 3 counts for a block, then 2 count, and now we're doing normal composites on my primary day. Well, on this secondary day, what we were doing was a top set of 3, a top set of 2, and now what we're doing is long pause work on this day, starting with a 3 count. So all I did was look at what I was doing for my 3 count single RP6 a couple blocks ago on my primary day, and took that same weight today, because I didn't think, if it was a primary day, I think, okay, maybe I can start a little bit heavier, but because it's a secondary day and I'm gonna be under a little more fatigue, I'm like, let's just start around the same spot and build up from there. Felt really, really good. Then I had 4 back down sets of 4 with a percentage drop of anywhere from 12 to 20%. So I just did the 12% drop. So that put me at 280 pounds for my 4x4, which felt really, really good. Now we're about to get into the accessory work. This day is my favorite day in terms of accessory, because we got weighted pull-ups, weighted dips. Fun fact, last weekend, closing out last block, I hit a PR set of 10 with 125 pounds on weighted chin-ups, and it was definitely the hardest that I've done so far. So now that we're in a new block, I'm gonna scale things back a little bit, start around like anywhere from 100 to 110 pounds to start off for this first week. That way I can hit like 115 to 120 the second week, and then hopefully PR again with 130 the following week. So that's how I've been going about my weighted pull-ups and dips. Is like, I'll push that first set of 10 a little bit harder, and then I'll scale the weight down for the second 2 sets. But with each block, I start a little bit heavier than where I did the last one, so I can hopefully finish a little bit heavier. And of course, as I get even closer to the meet, I'll have to scale that back a little bit more, just because weighted pull-ups and dips can start to tax me. But right now, it's still feeling really, really good. So let's get into it. Alright guys, so fun fact, I cut that set short by 2 reps. I only did 8 instead of 10, and 2, I'm actually about to cut the weighted pull-ups all together today. For the mere fact that, and this is nothing new, it always happens, but whenever I start to push the weighted chin-ups more and more and more, especially when I'm closer to a meet, just because the workloads I'm doing on bench squat and deadlifts will become more, like I said, I just start to feel really, really beat up. And I'm kind of feeling it way more than what I like, particularly like right here near my elbows. And it's one of those things where I know if I was only pushing weighted chin-ups by themselves and not pushing their stuff as much, it'd be fine. But because I'm hitting these new workloads, like I said, I've pretty much been PRing the weighted chin-up every single block at the end of each block for the past like 3 to 4 blocks. And I'm at this point hitting loads that used to be like a hard set of 5, and now hitting it for double that for sets of 10. So I think just between the amount of volume that I'm doing with it, plus the fact that I am doing like, the chin up instead of the pull up, so it's slightly longer range of motion, plus all the workload on the bench squat and deadlift just has me feeling a little bit more beat up than what I like. So I'm just gonna call it for the day. I'm not sure if I'm gonna take the weighted chin ups out altogether just yet, but I'm just gonna be smart about today and not push it, because at the end of the day, it is an accessory right now, and we're just gonna keep it moving with the rest of today's movements. All right, guys, hopping in for a voiceover, because I just want to talk about something very quickly during this segment as my accessories are playing, and that's just the fact that when I say that I may consider taking weighted chin-ups out altogether, that is not long-term. It is simply going to be, for the next few weeks leading into my meet. And this isn't something that everybody necessarily needs to do. It's really just going to come down to how much total workload are you doing across the board, and the fact that we have to remember that even when you have RP cap set and you're doing certain rep ranges, that some accessories are still going to beat us up more than others. And it's all about what you're responding to. I'm somebody where I am generally going to be stronger on weighted chin-ups and dips than what most people are, especially at my body weight. So it's something where, like I said, I have to just consider the fact that, okay, right now bench squat and deadlift are the focus, and if the weighted chin-up is starting to cause me to have issues with my elbows and my biceps just due to how much I'm doing on everything across the board, that's something that I have to keep in mind. For anybody else who, maybe weighted chin-ups are a part of your programming, or any big, role or pulling was a part of your programming, it's not something you necessarily need to stop doing.
so long as, you know, you're not feeling the same type of recovery issues that I currently am. So I just wanted to make sure that you guys have full clarity on that.
Alright guys, so change of plans. I actually am going to go ahead and take you guys through day 4 in this video. Then I'll take you through day 5, day 6, and then my next SBD day in the next video. Just because it occurs to me that I haven't done much talking for the past couple of days. So like when we last talked, it was still Sunday, and I told you guys the adjustment that I made on the pull-ups. I did the same thing with the dips. The dips didn't irritate my elbow at all, but I still scaled it back. I was doing, I believe I finished off last block with 135 pounds for a 3x10. I approached my dips differently than my pull-ups. With pull-ups, I pushed the first set really, really hard, and then like I said, I scaled back the last 2 sets. With the pull-ups, I do that. With the dips, it's one of these things where like I don't push one set really hard. I just do the same weight for all 3 sets, just because I do know that if I push the dips too hard, no matter what, that can have an impact on my bench, and I want it to be like an accessory in support of my bench. So I scaled back from the 135 for the 3x10 that I finished off with last block to 100 pounds for this block. That felt super easy, so I'll probably be able to like build back up relatively quickly over this block. And the rest of the accessories are very straightforward machine work, so everything felt really good. As far as yesterday's squat work, that was honestly the best that a secondary day has felt for week 1 on squats. Like everything felt like an empty bar. Granted, it was only like 407 and 363 for the back downs, but still, like for it to feel that good, because I think that's the same weight that I took on my week 2 of last block. So taking it on week 1 under more fatigue and having it move like that was huge. And then on the pendulum leg press, for those of you who don't know, that is a very like it's a very unassuming machine in the sense it's not like the bell square leg press where you're putting hundreds of pounds on it. Like 1, 2, 3 plates on pendulum leg press can be very difficult. So to do 3 plates plus a 25, 106 pounds in total, that was a PR on that pendulum leg press machine as far as the 3x8. So that felt really good. Then leg curls were standard. Today is my tertiary bench day, so we got comp bench, top set of 6, some back down set of 7, then some accessories. So we're gonna get through this, and then that'll be it for the video. All right, guys, so we hit my top set of 6 at RP 6 or less with 281 pounds. And then I had 2 back down sets of 7 with 10% less, which is 253 pounds. And even though that 281, like I said, may have been a little bit under a 6, honestly, that's fine because it's still progression from where I started last block. And you guys already know the craft method, man. On the primary days and the heavier intensity days, we focus on being as true as possible with the RP. Don't be over, don't be under. On the secondary days, I let myself be at or under the RP, since it's technically an RP cap on my secondary and tertiary days. And I kind of just let myself cruise as long as I'm getting that steady low progression week to week, and then relative progression, like week 1 of this block compared to week 1 of the previous block. And then on the final week of the block, I push everything to be true, and that usually allows me to like get pretty good numbers at the end of the block. So considering that last block we had a top set of 7, and for you know, this day, the tertiary day, and I started with like 275, I was like, okay, we'll just start 2.5 kilos over, see how that feels. Worst case, it's, you know, a little bit under the RP, which that felt pretty close to a 6 regardless, so I'm really happy about that. Next, we're gonna knock out these accessories.
Alright guys, so closing this video out with the voiceover, and I have to say everything for the rest of the session felt really, really good. I can say that, you know, since it's been a few sessions since this one, that I did end up taking the weighted chin-ups out altogether, and I just pretty much replaced them, as well as the weighted dips, with some basic machine work, just because it's not beating me up as much. But besides those 2 movements, I really haven't had to make any adjustments to Brad and I's plan for this prep. And like I said, pulling those heavy weighted calisthenics out, something that we usually do when we get around the 8-week out mark anyway, which we are well within that. So I'm just excited to kind of just keep things trending in the positive direction, you know, pushing the primary days when I need to, taking what's done on these secondary days, and just letting the momentum continue to build steadily. But yeah, as a whole, I'm very, very happy with how my body's feeling, especially walking around lighter and still being able to keep my strength where I need it to be for this upcoming meet. And I'm in a really good spot. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave a comment down below, let me know what you did. If you didn't, leave a comment down below, let me know what I can do better. Like the video, share, subscribe, keep it simple, specific, scientific. I'll catch you guys later.